All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Monday, September 22nd here on your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns. It is bye week, so that means Jake and I are going Monday through Friday this week, and we will take a little brief bye ourselves on the podcast this week for the Texas Longhorns. Coming off of a big win against Sam Houston, a lot of discord. And, it's almost getting to the point, Jake, where I feel like the Texas Longhorns have to be the college football version of the Dallas Cowboys. Like
They already were.
It just doesn't matter what they do, who they beat, how they look. They will hate the quarterback no matter who it is. And I think it's only amplified because it's Arch Manning. But man, a lot of people in the comments, it's Sam Houston. You think we don't know it's Sam Houston? You
also, we said that to start the show.
Yeah. And I'm not talking necessarily us, just everywhere. If you see a Texas Longhorn post, if ESPN or Sports Center or college football accounts post anything that Arch Manning did, the first comment, oh, well, yeah, he's playing against a future insurance salesman. First of all, statistically, 98% of all college athletes are probably going to be in your everyday workforce. So even if you're talking if he's playing against Oregon or Ohio State or Alabama, still like 90% of those guys are going to be in your workforce and not a professional athlete. So first of all, get your facts straight, sir. Second of all, yeah, it was against an insurance salesman. And guess what? He did what a future NFL football player is supposed to do against a future progressive claims adjuster, on Saturday night. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Very frustrating to see, okay, he finally played good, and now it's, well, yeah, look who he did it against. Well, yeah. Okay, well, it doesn't, I guess it's going to, and you and I, we talked about this weeks ago. But it's going to take him having to have a Heisman-worthy 400-yard, 4-touchdown, 0 interceptions, 4 rushing touchdowns, 100 yards rushing against Oklahoma or Georgia for him to gain any type of respect nationally.
Arch Manning leads the FBS in total touchdowns, by the way.
Between passing
and rushing. He's the only quarterback with 9 plus rushing touchdowns and 5+ passing touchdowns. So there are some good stats there. Now, that doesn't absolve the obvious things on tape that were going wrong going into it, but he has been essentially all of the Texas touchdowns. So there is a little something there that's been there to like.
I think he also leads all SEC quarterbacks in touchdowns. Pretty sure.
Well, if he leads all FBS in touchdowns, I think it's probably.
Did you say that led all FBS or was?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so, but regardless, you want to go in alphabetical order and start talking about the SEC. Go back and watch our prediction episode to get that reference.
You want to? My bad.
Only the brightest here on All on the Horns.
Yeah.
So, God, I lost my train of thought. So, Arch, but yeah, the discourse around him doing that over the guy. First,
did you know the SEC was in college football as a whole? It's like a secondary branch of college.
But if you go alphabetical order, it's all the way down in the S's from conferences. So the Big Ten would be in front, the ACC would be in front,
right? Alphabetically.
There's people who did not listen to those episodes right now going, what the hell are these guys
They're not
going to
know what we're talking about.
They've already turned it off. So, but yeah, he's doing it against weaker competition. If you listen to our podcast, we said that. We don't sugarcoat things here, but we did talk about how he was also just missing those things regardless of who the competition was, missing open wide receivers. And you could see his hesitancy to start the Sam Houston game. And then you saw him get more confident and kind of get himself out of that funk. Now, whether that lasts, we'll see. But there, you just got to take the positives as they come with an offense that was struggling before this. But then also, you have a bunch of Aggies and OU fans pearl clutching over Arch Manning doing that when Johnny Manziel did the same damn thing against the same damn team. In fact, when they were an FCS team, because I saw a bunch of Aggies and A&M fans who don't know anything about college football saying it was an FCS team. Sam Houston's not an FCS team. They're an FBS team. But you don't know that because you don't keep up with college football because you're dumb. And then you're going to say that when Baker Mayfield was grabbing his crotch against KU, like let's not do the pearl clutching just because it's Texas and just because it's Arch. And Arch's mom already got on to him about it. Okay,
Baker already did enough pearl clutching for both sides.
And when Baker did that, I as a Texas fan was like, I love it. Like I love that stuff.
Yes.
Football's not a polite sport. It's not meant to be a polite sport. You can be a good sportsmanship and still be a nasty, dirty football player. Those two things can be one and the same. And so for Arch Manning, that was letting frustration out. Sark even basically said he liked it in the halftime. They were trying to get him to say, I know you probably didn't like it. And Sark kind of basically just said, I kind of liked it. Which I liked, but Arch's mom already got on to him for it about it. Arch had talked about that in his press conference. His mom didn't like that very much, got mad at him, which is funny. But
it's
yeah,
funny. It's funny to think like Arch like going home after a game, or like even on the car ride home, he's like riding in the back seat with all of his Longhorn stuff on, and his mom's like, "Now, Arch, we told you the name on the back of your jersey matters," and just giving him the business. He's like, "Yes, Mom.
I did not raise you like that. That is not the son I raised."
Yeah, just imagining that scene happening, just like you're like a 10-year-old just getting reprimanded from your parents after doing something like that. We've all been there.
Yeah,
but also
if you're not Arch's mom and you're an OU or an A&M fan pearl clutching, just look in the mirror and just go, you're stupid, and then just shut up.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and that's the thing, Jake, is I'm perfectly fine with him doing that. At the end of the day, there are teams that play FCS cupcakes all the time, and you see that type of reaction of a big play all the time.
And Arch didn't even start it. That same defender did the same thing to Arch when he hit him big earlier I think it was in the first quarter. Arch on a designed run, he got leveled. It was by that same defender. I think it was number 6. So Arch just gave it back. He wasn't even the one, like he just didn't do that out of nowhere. He did that because A, he was letting out frustrations, but B, he didn't even start it. He just finished it.
And I'm glad he did finish it. But yeah, so that, I mean, at the end of the day, Jake, I'm perfectly fine. Here's my take on all taunting. Here's my take on all, college football, NFL football. Let them taunt. Let them celebrate. And guess what? Let them have a little bit of fun. It's okay. It's not the end of the world if someone stands over somebody and says, "You little small," and gets up and is just the big boy around campus. All right. It's perfectly fine for you to celebrate and get in somebody's face and letting them know that you're better than them. Guess what? They're trying to stop you. And if they stop you, they're probably going to do the exact same thing, especially at the NFL level. But college, let's not forget these students, these kids. Oh, not the children. They're getting paid millions of dollars, okay? Sam Houston guys are still getting some sort of compensation, not in the millions. I realize that. They're getting thousands of dollars from NIL and scholarships and stuff like that. Like, let's not
And
pretend.
it's football. When you're playing, your adrenaline's going through the roof. It doesn't matter who you're playing against.
Yeah. Dude, if you and I, whenever we were kids, whenever there were times where, we were tackling each other and getting each other, and like, I stood over you, you stood over me, and it was like, yeah.
I don't remember a time you stood over me.
Oh, trust me, I stood over you. Yeah, trust me. I got you down, big boy. But yeah, no, you just do that. Like, that's just how football is played. You don't get your feelings hurt. You get up and you play another down. And so I don't like taunting in the first place. I think you should be able to taunt. I don't care about, what kind of example are you setting for the kids? Yeah, that's the parents' job. That's you as
long as you're not physically doing something or spitting on them, which has become really, that's the new fad this year.
And that's not taunting. That's
unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, correct.
But yeah. Speaking of unsportsmanlike conduct, do you want to go, unless you have more to say about the Sam Houston State game? I don't think there's a ton to talk about. You want to talk about how AP poll voters are doing a substantial amount of drugs?
Can we do that after we talk about underdog?
Oh, we're always happy to talk underdog first.
All right, let's talk a little bit of underdog. Jake, underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. They also now have team picks, which they've now introduced, and you can you can pick whether or not the team is going to score higher or lower than the total amount. And so, yeah, go ahead, download the app today and sign up with promo code HORNS to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That is using promo code HORNS. Tell them we sent you, and you can get that free $50 whenever you place your first $5 entry. All right, Jake, we may have jumped the gun slightly last week. This week, we're not jumping the gun. It is Ryder Cup week, and we will be looking at some of the entries that you can place on underdog for the Ryder Cup. Now, Jake, this one is one that I like. Tommy Fleetwood is the only European that I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt on. He typically plays pretty well. I'm going to say he's got a higher of 1.5 total in terms of the matchup that he will be going against. I think Scotty Scheffler, the world #1 golfer, is going to have higher than 2.5 total points won. Rory McIlroy will have lower than 2.5 total points won. John Rahm also, I thought that was a little high for John Rahm. So I'm going to say lower than 2.5. I do think John Rahm can score maybe 2 points total. But I think 2.5 is a little steep for the way he's been playing recently, especially whenever it comes to some like you can play really well at Live, and then whenever you come to the PGA and you mix the Live and the PGA guys all together, and these are the what, Jake, the 28 best golfers in the world, 24 best golfers in the world, all competing against one another, and so it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. And so I haven't been overly impressed with the way Rory's been playing. Haven't been overly impressed with the way John Rahm has been playing. I've been highly impressed with how Tommy Fleetwood and Scotty Scheffler have been playing. So I'm going to assume that they take that into the Ryder Cup as well.
Yeah, mine is going to be somewhat similar. At least I'm riding with you on the Tommy and the Scotty entries. But then I threw Justin Thomas in there. I think he started playing pretty well towards the end of the season, closed out the season really well. He also seems to always play really well in the Ryder Cup. He's a fiery guy, just a good team guy to have too out there. And I think he will go higher than 1.5 points. And then similar to you as well, I'm riding with the Rory going lower than 2.5. It kind of feels like he normally plays pretty well in this event, but he just hasn't been playing his best golf. And I wouldn't be 2.5 just seems high. I think he'll end up right at about 2 points won, and I think USA is going to win that. So I think this kind of reflects that.
USA. In the USA, you must be 18 years or older to play some of these games. 19 years or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 in Colorado, and present in state where Underdog Fantasy operates. You must be 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and in Virginia. Terms do apply. Go to assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms for more details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and in Pennsylvania. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. 369. Damn, girl, you're fine. Give it to me one more time. Get low. Get low, get low, get low. No, you're not into that?
No,
You're not,
not you singing it.
I got nothing from you on that end of things. Not even a smidge.
You got a cringe internally from me.
you know who's also on drugs, Jake? The AP poll.
Yeah,
that was my segue.
You looked like a. Now it makes sense. Now you were simulating being someone very high on a lot of different drugs.
That was
which
my
represents
segue. Yeah.
AP poll voters. because the AP poll has been a mess. There's been a brighter spotlight shown on it so far this year, and it continues to be a mess where they're a week late on moving teams. Let's just start with Texas. This is Texas podcast, right? Texas should have dropped last week if they were going to drop. Instead, they looked the best they've looked this year. Yes, against Sam Houston State. How do they drop two all of a sudden? A&M on a bye jumps Texas, which I'm fine with A&M being ahead of Texas, but it's just saying you're not making sense. You're reacting to what people are saying, but then you're still not reacting correctly because the first team to be ranked out of the top 25 would be Auburn. Still, don't understand that. I guess unless you're just like counting in the fact that they really won that Oklahoma game, if it wasn't for the officials, which
Sure.
that is somewhat a fair point. Mississippi State still not ranked. You have
Egregious.
Notre Dame moved up 2 spots after giving up 30 to Purdue, and their defense looks. Notre Dame's looks. It's going to be impossible for Notre Dame to follow the rankings because their schedule's so weak that they only have a few losable games left. And yet they're ranked. And then Illinois doesn't drop out of the rank. You're going to have Illinois stay in the rankings after losing 63-14, but not rank Mississippi State, not have South Florida ranked, not have Memphis ranked. What?
Yeah. It's bizarre to me, Jake. It really is wild because what it is what you were alluding to earlier was they are reacting to the displeasure from fans talking about their poll. And so when people online are bullying them and saying, why don't you have this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? They're saving those drafts. They're saving those tweets and those posts. And they're then implementing them into next week's polls instead of just watching the damn game. Stop watching what people are saying about your polls and watch the games and then get your determination of who's the best teams, who has the best resumes. Even if they have a loss, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have a worse resume. Now, Notre Dame playing 2 good teams and they've lost both of those 2 games, probably a determining factor of they probably shouldn't be ranked. Especially one being
and not even
home.
looking all that impressive against Purdue. Their offense looks good, but their defense is terrible. They have no reason to deserve being ranked. Why
Illinois should not be ranked?
TCU finally got ranked. Good, they should be. They've done enough to be ranked. Why is BYU ranked and Mississippi State's not? BYU's best win is East Carolina. It doesn't make sense. You don't have Mississippi State ranked, but you have BYU ranked. You have Notre Dame ranked. You still have Illinois ranked. Missouri's only at 20. I feel like their resume is much better than the 20th ranked team in the country. I mean, what has Michigan done to be ranked ahead of Missouri?
Or USC for that
What has
matter.
Alabama done to be ranked ahead of Vanderbilt?
How is USC and Missouri ranked below Michigan and Alabama just because they started them off higher ranked? No, we're not at a point.
And
to where
that is the answer.
Yeah.
Indiana should be in the top 10 after their performance this week.
Absolutely, they should be.
Why is LSU ahead of Georgia? What has LSU done? Be a horrible Clemson team by 1 possession?
I'd like to see the rankings really fluctuate of who is the top 10 teams going into week 4. Who are the best 10 looking teams in the country going into week 5 now? Indiana is probably a top 10 looking team. I would have to say Vanderbilt is a top 10 looking team right now. It's not about where you had them previously ranked. It's not about what you think they're going to finish their season. Though they're not projected rankings. They are week 5 rankings, not what they could be in week 12 rankings. And that's what really annoys me. Or it's not what we had them preseason ranked, and now they've dropped a few and we don't want to look too stupid. It's okay to drop teams out of the top 25 when they were ranked in the top 10 and they had a horrible loss. They're no longer a top 10 team. They don't need to be a top 25 teams. It's okay to have teams drop whenever they win a game, but they won against a bad opponent and they haven't looked good through 3 weeks. Now, you are due a little bit of grace and a little bit of leeway from time to time if you just have a bad performance. That's okay. But again, that's why watching every game every week matters to these pollers. but they don't watch every week and they don't watch every game every week. And so they don't really know. They just box score watch and they see who's done what and what are the previous rankings from last week. Oh, well, we'll drop them a spot or two.
Yeah, it's maddening, honestly, because you have AP poll voters sitting there saying it doesn't matter. And I real quickly while you're doing that, I just wrote down a top 9, just going off the top of my head based off what I've seen, because I watch more football than 90% of AP poll voters. And I'm not saying this is necessarily right, but I did this in 30 seconds. 1, Miami. Think they have the best resume so far with some of the best performances. I would have them 1. I'd have Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Oregon 4, Florida State 5, Oklahoma 6, LSU 7, A&M 9, or A&M 8, Indiana 9, and then 10. You could have Texas, you could have Texas Tech, you could have Ole
Vanderbilt.
Miss, you
I'd
could
put
have
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. You could have any of those teams. I'd have Missouri in the top 13, probably right now.
If Vanderbilt was wearing Alabama jerseys, Jake, right now, where do you think the Vanderbilt Commodores would be ranked if they were wearing
Well,
Alabama
they would have been
jerseys?
ranked really high to start the year, so they'd probably be top 5.
They'd probably be top 3 right now.
Yeah, but
with the resume.
I don't think their resume, just from regardless of if their uniforms are just generic, isn't top 5 worthy. Just because they beat Charleston Southern, a bad Virginia Tech team, Georgia State, and then their impressive win is just plastering South Carolina on the road, which is a good win. South Carolina is not just a terrible football team.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. The rankings just make no sense, and it does matter because the committee also doesn't watch all the games, so they put some stock into the AP votes. I don't care what their criteria says they pay attention to. They pay attention to what the AP poll is.
They will also go based off ranked wins and strength of schedule, and your strength of schedule is determined on where you rank these teams, and if these teams are ranked going into those weeks. And so yeah, it has a long-term effect on it, and it needs to start being taken seriously, not on a week after the fact basis, because that's what it is. It's on a week after the fact basis. And then by that point, it's too late because we already have a new week's worth of information to rank these teams on. And again, next week's rankings are probably going to look closer to what this week's rankings should look like, depending on who wins and loses. So it's frustrating. And again, it does matter, and it's affecting the way the college football landscape is being played out on a week-to-week basis. So anything else you have to add, Jake, or ready to wrap this thing up?
No, ready to wrap this thing up. It's annoying that I'm this frustrated at the AP poll because it shouldn't matter to this level, but it's the fact that it's people that have an important job but don't care about it or take it seriously, when there's a lot of people that could have that job and would take it seriously and trying to do it correctly.
Correct. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Remember, we're coming out with episodes Monday through Friday all this week due to the bye week. And then next week, we'll start gearing up for Florida and the start of SEC play. For Jake Jimerson, I'm Tanner Carlson. As always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.